welcome to this student interview. Reed has interviewed Kyle Mahalik, and we saw that on our social media, which was great. They both did a great job. And so I am going to ask you just some questions about your journey and how you came to know Jesus and what he's teaching you and quarantine things and all kinds of stuff. So first, I would like you to introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are.
My name is Analyn, and I am a sophomore in high school.
Ayat like diet. That's how I learned to say your last name.
Yeah, it's like diet without the D. It's really confusing.
Sophomore in high school, where do you go to school?
I'm homeschooled.
Right. Very good. Which means you are almost done, right?
Yeah, I finish next week.
That's a blessing. Is next week still April? I think so. That's probably the earliest any high schooler in the last 50 years has finished high school. So,
yeah.
In the time of the pandemic, we are in school early. How long have you been coming to HSM at E-Town?
I started coming to HSM in December of 2018.
Nice.
So, like a little over 2 years, maybe.
A year and a half? Wait, no, what?
A year and a half. Wait, I don't know. All I know is it's from December of 2018.
Yeah, that'd be like a year and a half.
Yeah, something like that.
I think. Wow, this is embarrassing. Fine, whatever. Sweet. So you're only a sophomore, but if you could do anything right after high school, what would you do? And then after college, what would you do?
I would really like to be a mixed practice vet, so work with household animals and like farm animals. I think that would be really cool. It's that or like become a physical therapist like my parents. So.
Oh, cool. I didn't know your parents were physical therapists. That's great. That's very convenient. I always think about convenient jobs like a doctor, a physical therapist, an electrician, a plumber. Like, these are convenient jobs. That's awesome. What's your if you couldn't be a vet, what's like your ridiculous dream job that probably won't happen, but you'd be thrilled if it did?
I feel like a photographer, like a really well-known photographer that could travel the world and just do pictures and stuff. I feel like that would be really cool.
Yeah, I follow your Instagram photo account. It's great. Beautiful pictures.
Especially since I mean, like, I don't use my camera on half of them. So I use my phone.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, at some point.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that that's not super unrealistic, and you probably could do that along with being a vet/physical therapist. So.
It's possible, but unlikely.
Well, okay. So moving on to spiritual things. Tell me your favorite Bible verse and why, and then I'll tell you mine.
My favorite Bible verse, I had it imprinted on my very first Bible. Well, no, it was my second Bible, but like my fancy Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Have it here. It's 1 Peter 3:3-4, and it talks about what makes us precious in God's eyes, and it's not physical things like the way we look, it's more the way we act. And so I really like that.
I love that. God sees the heart. My favorite Bible verse is Proverbs 31:25, which she is clothed in strength and dignity and laughs without fear of the future. And that's like everything I want to be as a woman, just like strong and dignified and joyful. So
that's really nice.
Yeah. Okay. What difference does face-to-face time with Jesus look like? We've been going through our FaceTime series starting last week. Next week's week 2, and we've had our FaceTime challenge this week. So how's that making a difference in your life?
It's making whatever I'm reading more personal. Like typically I just read it, I'll highlight it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But when you break it down, it becomes a lot more personal, and I think that's really good.
Yeah. Have you been using the SOAP method that Reed talked about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah, I think it's super helpful to do what you just said, to break it down and see the relevance to each verse, which is cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what has been God teaching you in the last few weeks through quarantine, through social distancing, or just like through Analyn's regular life? What is God teaching you?
Really just that like I'm not alone, because even in quarantine, like it amplifies the feeling of just feeling alone. But with HSM and all the other things that I've been doing to keep myself busy, it's really been helpful as just a reminder that like you're not actually alone, even though sometimes it feels like it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I think that's super important to remember. That's especially relevant to me. I live alone. So like I'm alone all the time. And this is crazy. But also I'm not, because I have Jesus and I have my HSM fam via the internet and MSM fam via the internet. Thank Jesus for the internet. Let me tell you. This is kind of a curveball, but what is like something that you weren't doing before quarantine and that you will stop doing after quarantine?
Ooh, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Probably the kind of painting I've done. I've painted a lot, and I've also done a lot of woodworking. I'll probably not do as much woodworking.
Cool. What have you been building?
Well, I bought like a little mirror, and I'm gonna make a wooden frame around it, and then I'm gonna glue some shells on it and send it to my grandma. Because we went shell hunting when I went to see her in Florida a few weeks ago. So
nice. You got to go to Florida before all of this happened?
yeah, literally the day I got back, we went under quarantine, and it was like, yeah, it was so weird. I was super upset when I was on the phone. It was my last day, and they announced that church had been canceled, and I wanted to cry.
Oh no.
But it was so upsetting, but it makes it the next time we go to church all the more exciting.
Yes.
So.
I keep clinging to the celebration. We're going to have such a huge party, and it is going to be the
Yeah.
I can't wait. Can't wait. Okay, so last question before we just kind of hang out for a minute. What advice would you give to students who are trying to spend regular face-to-face time with Jesus? Because that can be hard to do.
I guess make a schedule. Make a schedule and just try to stick to it. Because if you do it at like wacky times when you're multitasking, it's not as effective as it could be when you separate time for it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I would also create a space for it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that like really helped me when I was in college. I had specific time that I spent with Jesus, and I went into a huge empty chapel, and that's where I spent time with him, and I created space, which is really it's helpful. That's great advice, Analyn. I love it. What's your schedule look like? What do you face to face with Jesus?
I get up in the morning and I start running. So I'll run my mile. It's more like a mile and a half. And then typically as I start to wind down, I'll have lunch, and then I'll go in my room and I'll have my time. I'll spend 15-30 minutes. I typically like to read Psalms or Proverbs because they just have a lot of really good verses, and then I'll do whatever my small group is doing.
Wonderful. What is your small group doing for the soap stuff this week?
We are reading Proverbs by the date. So like we started at Proverbs 20, and we're just going on from there.
Nice. That's what my small group is doing also.
Oh, so, that's cool.
Yes, from Proverbs 23 today. So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Analyn. I really hope that everything that you said and just all the content that we're putting out is helpful to students in this quarantine, because we've never done this before. And so we are playing it by ear and trying to make it as fun as possible without, being with each other. So thanks for helping us do that. And you shared your testimony last week, which was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so people get to see you twice, which is so exciting. Well, thank you so much, Analyn. I am going to be posting this, and it's going to be so exciting, and everybody will hear you. So say goodbye to your friends.
Bye.